I'm going to walk all the way down from Whitehall to Westminster. So there's a Whitehall Palace and there was a Palace of Westminster. We still refer to the House of Parliament as the Palace of Westminster because that's what it is. It's a fire again during Victoria's reign, and the Houses of Parliament or Palace of Westminster had to be rebuilt. The Great Hall, medieval Great Hall, thankfully survives and you can go in there. That is an incredible place to go. You really are walking in the footsteps of so many people, important people, and through history. I think Guy Fawkes was tried in there. Charles I was tried in there. We've just been talking about him. I think the Queen Mother lay in state in there. Have I got that right? Incredible. If you come to London, do try and do a Houses of Parliament tour so that you can go through the Great Hall. Just going past Downing Street, hence security and crowds. There we go. Used to be able to go down Downing Street. I've done a video before actually about, is it a video or a blog? I'll have to find it out for you, about why our Prime Minister lives on a side street. Because it's if you think of it compared to the White House or something like that, that's not where our leader, sort of thing our leader lives in. And it's also not purpose built. It's actually on marshland. I will look that story up again in my blog and share it with you because it's quite interesting. At the back of here, so down Whitehall's fascinating. Just to have a, let me show you. So we're in Whitehall. So someone's asking me about what I'd recommend to see in London. This area is particularly fantastic because at the very top of this road you have Trafalgar Square and the National Portrait Gallery and the National Gallery. National Portrait Gallery for Tudor lovers and Stuart lovers. Go and see the Tudor room and then the Stuart room. The portraits in there are fantastic. And it's free to go in. So you could go up there. You've got Horse Guards Parade then halfway down. You could carry on to the west of that and see Buckingham Palace. You can kind of do a circuit. That's how I do it if I bring groups here on a walking tour. We do a bit of a circuit. But if you carried on straight down Whitehall, obviously we've gone past Downing Street already. At the back of these buildings to my right is Churchill War Rooms, which is set as it was during wartime. I think it was left, so it's pretty much as it was at the end of the war, where everyone just sort of went, oh, we can go now. They're through there. So if you went up this street and turned to the left, you could get into the Cabinet War Rooms. I'm about to get into someone's photograph. That's not good, is it? And here we are coming down to Palace of Westminster and of course Westminster Abbey. So on the Elizabeth I Experience Tour next year we will be visiting Westminster because of course it is where her tomb is. It's where she lies, in the same tomb as her sister Mary I, and opposite the tomb of her cousin and mother of Elizabeth's successor, Mary Queen of Scots. Mary Queen of Scots was initially buried at Peterborough Cathedral, and then when her son James came to the throne a few years later, he moved her to Westminster Abbey and made a tomb slightly larger than that of Elizabeth, which I think is quite amusing. He wasn't very helpful to her in life, but anyway, he did that for her in death. That's the Great Hall in front of me there. There's so much scaffolding on the palace at the moment. Let's see if I can get closer. So on the corner, the closest bit to us now, that's the Great Hall. Photographs. Oh, another top tip, this is a great place to get one of those iconic red telephone box pictures because you can get it with, well, maybe not for the next year. Come when Big Ben, the Elizabeth Tower is not under scaffolding, and you could get a fantastic photograph from a red telephone box with the Elizabeth Tower in the background. So I want to show you Westminster Abbey. I want to walk around and show you the outside of the Henry VII Chapel, because it is nothing like the rest of Westminster Abbey. Just while I'm waiting to cross the road, just to mention, I've travelled from Greenwich to here on the Clipper, which is kind of the commuter boat, but well worth doing. I'd recommend that as a way to travel around London if it's going to a place you want to go, obviously, because you get to see so much from the river. And if you like following in the footsteps of our ancestors, especially the Tudors, and prior to that, then that's how they would travel. So in front of me, that's St Margaret's. That's the parish church, whereas you have the Abbey. And the Abbey was originally an abbey, seems obvious. But obviously all the abbeys went through the dissolution during Henry VIII's reign, but here became a cathedral. It's where every monarch has had their coronation since William the Conqueror. I did read actually that Harold, which is obviously, pre-William the Conqueror, was also had his coronation here, so I could say it goes back further. Okay, so Westminster Abbey. Gothic, detailed, but we're going to go and have a walk around to the outside of the Henry VII Chapel. Sorry for the bounciness, I hope I'm not giving anyone seasickness. So again, we're looking at the Great Hall at the Palace of Westminster, or House of Parliament, better known as now. There's a statue of Oliver Cromwell, head of the parliamentarians. He was the, during the 11-year, what do people call it, the experiment with republicanism. He was in charge. It all sort of fell apart after he died. Okay. So there you can see the other side of the Palace of Westminster, and then to my right, get past this sign, the Henry VII Chapel. Look at it, isn't it absolutely stunning? So detailed, elaborate. You have on there, let's have a look at some of the emblems on there. Obviously the Tudor Rose, you can see on the left. Portcullis, which was the Beaufort family symbol, from sort of they like to use symbols that sort of related to the word. So Beaufort, sort of beautiful castle, so that's where the portcullis comes from. It was fleur-de-lis for the French connection. And all of that, it's just covered, it's beautiful. So, I had already said the Palace of Westminster, the House of Parliament, was rebuilt after a fire during the reign of Victoria. But it looks, doesn't it, very similar to Henry VII Chapel here. Built, 3 centuries prior? And that is because the winning design for the House of Parliament, architects of the day had to submit their design, and the winning design was based on the Henry VII Chapel. So that is why they look similar. So, I said the Great Hall is remaining. There is one other part of it that you can visit, which won't take you very long, but it's really good. It's English heritage, so it's well looked after, and it's good to have a look around. That's the Jewel House there, if you can see. Oh, it's got the English heritage flag on the top of it. There are the Jewel House. So that was literally where the monarch kept his jewels. It would have been part of the I don't know why they'd kept their jewels there when it's like part of the curtain wall. I might have to look into that. Although you can see there's, I think there was a boat around it actually. I'm talking off the top of my head now, so excuse me if I'm totally wrong. But jewel house, you can see you can do that in, I don't know, half an hour, 3/4 of an hour. So there's quite a lot to see in this area. A lot to see in this area that you can do relatively quickly and relatively cheaply as well. Because a trip to London doesn't tend to be cheap, does it? And there behind us, Westminster Abbey again. That's the chapter house of Westminster Abbey. I can tell that from the shape. Get round. Because I really want to show the difference in the architecture, because Westminster Abbey is elaborate enough as on its own. It's it's very beautiful. It's arches, it's points, everything. So I just want to show you the juxtaposition. I love using that word. There we go. Westminster Abbey and the Henry VII Chapel at Westminster Abbey. I hope you've enjoyed that. Thank you for coming along with me. I'll see you all soon. Bye.